Glad I didn't add more. Look at my arm, look at me. Oh no. I feel a little bit more confident in what I'm doing. Not 100%, but you know. This is getting decluttered right now on camera, not sorry. Hi friends, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a second chance video. Today I am going to be going through some subscription box makeup, let's be serious, it's like a 99% Boxycharm, and trying to decide what is going to stay in my collection. I actually got out all of my cards for the beginning half of the year with Boxycharm to see, okay, let's do a mid-year review. How is Boxycharm doing? And as I was doing that, I was like, you know what? There are some things in all of these cards here that I really needed to give a second chance to, honestly, because maybe I have forgotten about them. Maybe they got moved in a drawer. My life did change during this season, so I may have missed some things that I normally would have been able to pay more attention to or not, maybe. So what we're going to be doing is doing a second chance video today. And I'm honestly really wondering, curious, concerned, maybe a little anxious about what does the end of the day's look going to look like. I don't know. I really have no idea because I do have the cream products in here that I told you recently in a Boxycharm video that I was going to be retrying with your tips because cream products just are not my jam. And I'm not someone with the type of skin that normally uses that. So I'm gonna try some new techniques from you guys. Thank you so much. But also there are like 3 eyeshadow palettes in here that I really have on the chopping block to declutter. I don't know if we'll be able to get to everything today because there are certain things in each category that I'm like, I have multiple things in here. Do I want to try to do halvesy? Do I just want to commit to a face? I have really no idea. So I'm gonna do this with you guys. So grab your tea, grab your snack, grab your pineapple, get comfy because I may need to spice this up with some alcohol soon because this is about to get crazy. Cheers. I couldn't even decide on a primer, honestly, because starting out the look today, I have 2 different primers that I really haven't given enough love to. I feel like I gave more attention to the Rare Beauty primer back in the beginning of the year. I don't know how much I've actually oh, this is Fenty, this is Rare. Sorry, I was getting them backwards. I feel like I've given more attention to the Fenty one probably because I've had it longer than the Rare Beauty. This one is an illuminating primer though, and this one over here is a soft matte. And since I do have some creams coming that tend to make your girl a little more reflective, shiny, I'm really wondering. So I am thinking about doing halvesy on here just to see the difference potentially. But yeah, let's just get into it. All right, so I'm gonna have to be able to keep track of what is where. Let's put the Rare Beauty on this side of my face and the Fenty Beauty on this side. Let's go ahead and clip the hair back. Every little bit helps. I'm a little concerned about this being illuminating. It may be why I can't remember what it's like. I have already done skincare this morning. I'm only gonna do a little bit of this because I've let you guys know recently I am trying to get my skin back together, so I'm not doing anything that I'm needing to give a second chance to as far as skincare goes. Just the makeup today because I'm trying to get my skin back together because it's had a lot of breakouts. So this side over here is probably going to be more illuminating from the Rare Beauty. And then let's come over here with this soft matte. I feel like I did like this, but I'm trying to remember why I haven't been reaching for it as much. I'm honestly not sure. Let's get in the skin here, really allow it to sink in. Right now in the mirror, I don't really see anything drastically different. I still see my pores up front. None of them are like blurring the pores. The skin actually looks pretty much the same on both sides in person, so let's keep going. I also like to give my primer just a minute to set, just like I do my skincare, just to kind of allow it to really get into the skin before I move on to the foundations. But that's going to give me a chance to let you know what I'm thinking about for foundations. I honestly couldn't remember if I'd gotten anything recently from a subscription box, and then I picked up something that made me go, oh, and like the was like, ooh, that can't be good. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. This is the Luminous foundation. And I was like, oh gosh, I know for certain that I've gotten this from Boxycharm. And honestly, these don't necessarily have to be from this year. If they are from at the end of last year, if I'm not using them, that's what a second chance video is for. And then I found this in a bottom drawer. So I'm thinking this one may have been from a Chic Beauty box maybe. This is the Cover FX foundation. This one is a Power Play foundation, which I can't remember what that means, but I was like, do I do a halvesy? Do I commit to one or the other? I seem to remember actually being kind of impressed with the Cover FX one. So I feel like really the second chance would be Anastasia, but I've not been using either of these, to be honest with you. This though has been in my top foundation drawer. I feel like for the sake of making sure things are set up for success as best it can for the rest of these things to be able to compare, I should just do one base. So let's just stick with the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. This is a luminous foundation though. Ooh, I forgot about that. So we'll be able to see though how it works with a luminous primer versus a soft matte primer. This is gonna be science with our face. And I'm a little nervous. I'm not gonna start with too much because it is luminous, and I do have some powders on deck that I am going to be testing today too. So, let's start with this much and see if we need to add more. Ooh, this is like already really thick. Really thick. I'm hoping because it's a little, it's luminous, I'm hoping it's going to not seep into my pores, but maybe, reflect off of them so that way you don't notice them as much, because neither one of those primers was really doing any favors for my pores, and maybe that's why I've not been using either of them. That could be, because if it doesn't blur these pores, I'm generally not that interested. Oh boy, was this the foundation that was yellow, like super yellow? Is this the one that was yellow and then transitioned? Oh, it's been a minute since I've played with these, so I can't remember. But I remember being like, oh my gosh, this is so yellow in one of my videos. Oh. I am using a damp beauty sponge, which is most of the time what I do with my foundations, but especially if they're a thicker foundation or something that I need to kind of soften, I do use a damp beauty sponge because I feel like a brush for me tends to make it higher coverage and maybe doesn't pull away as much as I need to when I look this orange, yellow, whatever color this is. Am I the sun today? Do I look like I'm that sun-kissed bronze, or do I look like I am going full Oompa Loompa? This is not going well. Okay. I hope this is the one that I remember doing a video where I was like, oh my gosh, it's so yellow, and then it just kind of like worked itself out. I don't remember. Glad I didn't add more. Oh my gosh, it just like, look at my arm, look at me, oh no. All right, I'm turning on this light, which can make me look a little bit more yellow just to look deeper into it. And you guys, I will say it is actually helping my pores. It's not making my pores look nearly as noticeable. Is it because it's distracting with the amount of yellow tone? Possibly. But I'm not going to be doing any, anything till I tell you. If I'm doing anything different, I'll let you know. So if this changes color and oxidizes more normal, great. But like this this in the bottle does not look like what is on my face right now. This looks way more yellow. But I mean, maybe it is my eyes doing some trickery to me, but it does look like it's becoming less yellow as it sits on my skin, what is the science behind that? Usually it's reversed. When things oxidize, they usually get more orange toned or yellow toned. This seems to start out vibrant, orange, Oompa Loompa, and then switch. But this is the only thing I am doing right now, is still working this into my skin a bit, trying to just get it in. If you're curious, my shade is 240N. I'm gonna just do a little bit down the neck with whatever's left on the sponge, just because I have a feeling I'm gonna need to do some work to blend things together, but who knows. Okay, so as I'm sitting here, from when it was freshly still being like applied with the sponge and on my face, just chilling there, it does look less yellow. Does it look like it matches my skin? Not really, at least not in person yet, but I'm glad we have powders and other things to hopefully help. But again, this is a second chance video. This could go any which way. Like literally, I feel like I need to do a time lapse with this, because it's like I'm not doing anything else. I've not put anything else on my skin, and it still looks, I feel like if I can do a side by side, I will, where it looks less yellow just by, blending it in and letting it sit more on my skin. This is weird, but I still don't think it's a great match for me. But when you see yellow come out of a bottle, no wonder I haven't reached back for this product yet. No wonder. I feel like I need to move on now to a concealer. I'm kind of glad I didn't use something else too, just simply because I don't know if I could have replicated anything close to what's happening on my face with this product. No clue, but this is kind of why I've been like probably scared to use it again. Item Beauty is something I've been seeing roam around, and I did get one of their concealers in Air Hug Concealer. This is the shade 200. So this actually has been something I have reached for, but I still have not determined how I like it, to be frank. It's not as good as some of the other things I have, but there's so much of it here. I feel like I need to keep trying it, but I'm not committed to loving it or hating it yet. So maybe, you know, doing some more investigating on my skin will help. The doe foot is ginormous, like ginormous. And it doesn't even have like, it just feels like it's a stick that comes in and out of this thing. And it has so much product on it. Not a big fan of that. I also not sure if this actually creates more lines under the eyes. Because I found when I've used this, it goes either way sometimes, but I feel like maybe I get more lines with this than I would otherwise. So, we're gonna see. We're gonna see. I feel like this just, it's not really a sponge. Like I said, it just feels like I put a stick all over my face. I'm, again, using the same damp beauty sponge to put this all over under the eye, on the lid. Not doing anything I wouldn't normally do, so I'm trying to make sure it doesn't do a lot of creasing under the eyes, because it could just be the formula and my skin type, or maybe there were just a couple days where I was in too much of a rush using it. I'm not sure. Obviously, having a concealer that's closer to my skin tone is also going to be helping the coloration, thank goodness. So I'm really curious to see how this does when I go to set it. But we're not going to be setting this right away like I'm used to doing. Oh no, because we are going to be trying another cream product that I recently have just showed you guys how much I suck at. Because I am a oily skin, big pored girl. I don't usually use cream products. So here's my issue. So hear me out on this. I want to try again in the second chance video, the Alley-Oop. This is something I just got, literally just got, and it's creams. I was having a struggle bus of a time figuring out how to use these. You guys were giving great tips, and I so appreciate it. I have other face products in here though that are in the second chance review. But I remember when I used this, now it could have been the way I used it, it still felt like I looked really flat outside of the beauty room where I have tons of natural light. I felt like I looked flat when I would look in the mirror in the bathroom in my house or just kind of roaming around. So if I need more, there are some other things on deck that I do want to tell you about, but they are powders. So you may see these later in the video. This product here is something that I have found is way too warm toned for me. This is the Kenya. I'm so sorry I'm not going to be able to say her last name appropriately, so I don't want to butcher it. This is the Glow and Go kit. This has a little bit of everything, but it has pulled way too warm on me and red, which can sometimes make my skin tone look a little sickly. So this is something that's kind of been on deck because I have not loved this, and I'd rather pass it along if this isn't something I'm going to keep. But also, I just got this, and I have so many other better bronzers in my collection. I'm like, how did I get this Shades of Sun bronzer that looks this deep and yellow based? This foundation may not be helpful considering how yellow she looked on, but I just don't think this is going to be my jam. I also was not in love with the formula, the way it comes out of the pan, so we shall see. Again, I'm not sure which way I'm going to go with this. I had a lot of things in my little collection to be like, I don't know about you. But first, we obviously have to do creams. Like, we have no choice when it comes to the science behind makeup. You have to do creams before powders, or you're just setting yourself up for failure. Now, some of you guys told me you liked it better with your fingers to be able to control the application, where it goes, and others of you told me to get a damp beauty sponge and use it that way to make it more seamless. And another tip you guys gave me was you do blush first, then bronzer, because sometimes a cream blush can be really powerful, and y'all know I just like a little bit more of a subtle blush. So I guess I'm going to be doing this totally wild. I'm going to do blush first, then the bronzer, and I think with one side of my face I'm going to do fingers like you had mentioned, and then another one on this side I will do sponge. And I still don't think we're ever going to see this highlighter, because this highlighter is, oh, not feel stiff, so close to my skin color that like you don't see it at all. I think that piece is going to end up being like collarbone, stuff like that type of highlighter, which is fine because I'm not really in this huge highlighter phase at the moment anyway. I kind of already have a lot of illuminating products on. So I'm trying to not move my area up here too much because I haven't been able to powder yet and your girl's expressive. So let's start with the blush, I guess. The blush. So since I'm right-handed, I think it makes the most sense to do fingers on this side, sponge on this side. Let's give that a whirl. Logic. You know, I'm just trying to help myself out here. And I need to go higher. Oh my golly. Look how much that is. You really don't need much. Okay. Okay. Okay, I could see how it's definitely going to be more subtle and more malleable this way. So that's good to know. And I can definitely see that there is a blush over here. All right. Now, before I move on, I'm going to do the sponge. Oh God, how am I going to do the sponge without making a mess? How? I feel like this is going to be a lot of products. So it's like, this is a damp beauty sponge. Tap. I'm just doing literally one tap. Okay, so that's subtle. Maybe I'd like this for blending because I feel like this side's looking pretty, I don't know, you see it and it's not overwhelming, but this, I feel like I need to go back in and it's a little scary. So I'm just doing another one. Okay. Both of these techniques seem to be much more Nichole friendly when you have bossy pores, oily skin. Okay. And it still makes this even lighter on this side. So thank you guys so much for these tips. They are super duper helpful. I really appreciate it. I'm just trying to like match them now. So I am needing to do this side a little bit more, which lets us all know using a wet sponge is going to be definitely the way to go into it gradually. So we don't turn into what happened in the last video. Y'all, nightmare. Speaking of nightmare, I cannot believe we are almost to my Halloween special. That is going to be coming up so darn quickly. I was already sitting here going, man, I already got to start thinking, what do I want to do? I'm already seeing Halloween decorations. I know, you're all like, girl, it's August, calm down. I know, but I'm already seeing decorations for the next holiday, which is Halloween. So now we're going to go into the bronzer here. So I'm going to do, I remember this one's way creamier than these other two. So it's a little stiffer this time around. Oh, but when you work into it, it definitely gets wetter and it becomes a lot more on your finger. Girl, you know I came prepared this time. Use a little on the hand here. Let's see. Trying to keep it up, kind of going over the blush, but not totally covering it. So a lot of us agreed that this was more like a contour, a cream contour. When you had tried it or when you saw me trying it, and I totally agree with you. It's almost like you have to go in with a lot, and then it just leaves that faint shadow after you do some blending. I'm trying to keep this a bronzer. But yeah, I could see you maybe using this as a cream contour. Still see the blush. I'm adding more to the finger. So I'm wondering how the sponge is going to do since that's so much more natural. But I'm going to be doing some blending still, I think, on both sides with that sponge. But it's definitely not as much as it was before. It's like almost getting nothing on it. So I'm just going to do that blush that was super pigmented. So we'll see. I feel a little bit more confident in what I'm doing. Not 100%, but you know. Now, I don't know, even if this ends up looking okay, I don't know if this is going to be my favorite medium of makeup because I have been here, I'm sorry, I'm tapping this. I've been here a very long time trying to make this gradual. And I'm sure over time, I'm going to start warming up here on the sponge with both sides. Over time, when you get accustomed to something, it goes by quicker, obviously. I just don't think creams, I mean, it would take a special kind of cream. Oh man, I'm already seeing it blotch up here on the forehead with the, man, darn it, I was hoping to avoid the blotchiness. It may just be my skin, y'all. It may not be, you know, the techniques. It just may be that creams aren't your girl's jam. Gonna blend. This side actually looks pretty natural, at least in person and from what I can tell on camera. So the sponge is definitely starting to pull away here from my skin, and it could be, again, the foundation underneath. So maybe I'm going to switch over to fingers here just to kind of like try to match it back up again, because this side is starting to pull away even like the makeup and you're seeing the freckles a bit more. But both of these techniques seem to have worked much better than what I was doing. So thank you guys so darn much. I am going to get ready to powder, I think, because where I'm going to use this is on the body. And I think I will be able to still use some of these other products that I have here. I will say something else I had on deck just in case was this Dewy Ciate like liquid blush. This is a glossy cheek tint that made a lot of us unhappy. I feel like what I have going on with my face right now, this is going to be too much. And I think the blush is going to be totally fine. So for now, I'm just going to put this aside to review at a later date or just plan to declutter. We'll see. We'll see. I do think before I put on a powder, I do like the side where I did the fingers the whole time more than this side, simply because I can definitely see some of my skin imperfections and freckles underneath at the moment, which will probably be gone by the end of this because of all the other makeup I'm gonna do. But I think this side looks more natural and I needed to do a lot less with it. So thank you guys so, so much. Although I will say this side looks juicier and more dewy than this side. And isn't this side with the illuminating side? Yeah, and it could be because there's, you know, more undisturbed cream product here, so it looks a little bit more shiny. Now we have 3 different powders because I could not decide and I just knew I hadn't been touching any of these. So we have the Bare Minerals Original Translucent Powder. I used to love that stuff back in the day. That was my jam. Then we have the Viseart Setting Powder here, and I believe this is also translucent. And then the Anastasia Beverly Hills powder right here, also translucent. This is original translucent, but it definitely is more of a pink tone with Bare Minerals. Viseart and Anastasia honestly look very white toned. Let's see how the Viseart does. I seem to remember enjoying how the ABH worked under my eyes, but I couldn't remember what I thought of the Viseart. So maybe let's do this very pricey Viseart setting powder because Viseart is a very pricey brand. This is like cupped in here so you could just go right in with your sponge. Make sure there's no creasing. Setting it up for success. No creasing. Powder's on the other side. I'm following the rules of makeup to the best of my ability at the moment. Okay. I don't like this. The smell of that smells almost like smoke, like someone's smoking, which is a weird thing to say. I've never experienced that with a powder. So far, okay-ish. So should I use that for the rest? I kind of wanted to use the Bare Minerals for the rest of my face. So let's kind of see. Not looking like it's looking too cakey. The under eyes are starting to look a little crepey though. Don't worry, this is also the time where I like to do a setting spray, especially if I'm going to be doing a lot of makeup. It is hot outside, so I tend to naturally do this anyway. If I'm going to do full glam on a hot day or just whenever, do a mid set down. So I'm just going to keep doing the face just a little bit more because I'm not even touching the under eyes for the record with this Bare Minerals. So that'll hopefully help set everything down, maybe help with any creasing. It's actually not bad. I haven't sprayed yet. It's actually not bad, but this is what it looks like close up. Doing pretty good. I like how you can still see the bronzer and blush there. It's still very subtle though, right? Very natural. It's not like when I use a powder when you just like, oh, she's got it. Like it's a little bit more subtle. But I still have to say my face still doesn't match my body from the foundation, you know. This is just a quick mist. That's it, and rest. And this will give me some time to tell you about what we're gonna be doing next. I'm gonna try not to move my face though while I do it. I think I will be looking at some other products here. We do have this bronzer we were just talking about and Kenya face kit. I just feel like my skin type may not be the best for this, but I think I really liked the blush and the shimmers maybe, and the brow powder is always just like convenient, so I'll probably use that in this video too. But you know what I should do? I should come back over here into the alley-oop with my finger while my face is setting down and just do some highlighting here, right? I mean, if we're going to use this highlighter, because I didn't see it on my face at all last time. A lot of you guys said you couldn't see it either. And, you know, I feel like this is more, if it's going to be the color of my body, I would rather it be in areas that, you know, you want to juice up. It's got a little bit of glitter glow to it, I'm noticing. I do have a highlighter over here, you guys, that, you know, I knew that there was a highlighter in here that I thought we could test, but then I also got something from Fenty that is like, boom, that I've definitely not touched. And I'm like, okay, well, if we're doing a second chance video, should we include it? So we'll get there. Okay, the face is starting to feel a little bit more dried down, a little tight in some spots. This side definitely has more freckles to it. Let me see if I can get close to you. This side here, you can definitely see the skin, how the makeup pulled away, or maybe it just moved a lot from those cream powders. So that's kind of why I was seeing detractors with that side. This side, you don't see it nearly as much with, and I do have freckles over here too. Maybe not as clustered, but I think you know what I mean. This side just looks a little like less polished, whereas this side looks a little bit more refined. So not loving that too much. Yeah, feels dry now. Feeling pretty good. Under eyes actually aren't looking too creasy. They're actually looking pretty decent at the moment. I'm still trying not to make too many expressive faces at the moment while everything is still settling. Ooh, this Divine bronzer in here actually looks pretty good, but I do think it does pull darker on me. Yeah, it does. I think this color was a little bit more, again, the red base to these products I think were really hard for my skin type, although today on today's foundation color, would you notice? Maybe not. Let's do a quick dabble into this too. This has more of that yellow base I was telling you about. Oh yeah. You can see the yellow base there, right? Like, good golly. Very different. Like, you know what? This one is way more approachable for me than this. Like, look at this. No matter how much I try to wear it down, buff it, I just don't think that's for me. Oof, that's Oompa Loompa. Wow. Yeah, I just don't think this is gonna be for me. Can't even, like, oof. It doesn't buff down, it just migrates. It just keeps moving, it keeps growing. But in the name of reviewing more second chance products, let's see what the Divine looks like on my skin. But yeah, like now you see some bronzer over it. Somebody else did say, you know, maybe you could do the cream products, let them live their life, and then if you're worried you're looking too flat, go in later with some powder. So that's what we're doing. We're gonna do this second chance style. I'm only doing this side at the moment because I'm genuinely wondering if I should go into this, but I'm just like, this looks so ugly. You guys, I just don't think this is gonna be for me. I think with this swatch, this is a nope, so I'm not even gonna like set myself up for failure with the rest of the makeup that we're second trying. I think we know this is it's just too dark for me, too dark. So this bronzer from Kenya, I think is a nice formula. I just think it's the wrong shade match for me. I mean, my head does not look like it belongs on this body, right? So I am going to start warming up the body down here just to, you know, make it look good. There's Independent for a blush and Joy. Ooh, Joy looks like a highlighter, like holy buckets. That looks like a pink toned highlighter. Yikes. So what does Independent look like? Independent also has some highlighter properties. Yikes. All right, let's just do Independent because I think that'll match better. Oof, oof. Okay, but this, man, that's like that's got a lot of shimmer to it. So if you're just looking to use this palette for a light mount and go, and if it's your skin color and it works for you, awesome. I don't know if this works for me. We still have some shimmers in here for the eye looks, but just to give you an idea, these shadows are also very much what I think pulls very red toned on me. Like these colors right here, you can see how much they have more of a red base to them, and not a neutral base, very warmed up. That's why these, like, whew, look at that. These are very red toned on my skin. And I feel like they make my eyes look a bit more sickly. They don't look like a natural brown tone or something more neutral toned. They can make me look a little bit more like, ooh, like she doesn't feel well. Are your allergies bothering you? Which is why I have not really gravitated to this palette much. Okay, so here is where we're at now. I'm gonna do the brows really quick. And I think I will use some of this product here. Just putting a little bit of pencil in my brow, and next I'm gonna go into that Kenya brow powder because that's something I like to use to set down a brow. I generally kind of go into the darker shades, not this more neutral, maybe a little gray based shade. I remember I did use the brow product a couple of times before, at least a few. I don't think I had any like issues with it or anything. I remember being really excited about the idea of this palette because it had these in here too, because I'm like, okay, it's got eyeshadows, it's got blushes, it's got bronzers, it's got brow products. Like, stop, this is perfect for travel. Yes, highlighters, shimmers, mattes, like, you're so excited. So that's why I was pretty bummed when I was trying this and it was just pulling too warm, pulling too red based for me, that it wasn't gelling with me. You seem like very solidly bold brows on me right now. I've been going a little bit lighter with my brows, but I don't think that this gray neutralish tone would have worked for me. So, okay. All right, now let's get into the eyeshadow palettes. And I have a few things in front of me that I've not been reaching for, or I have and I've not been very impressed, so I wanted to give it some more love. I do have a Basic Beauty eyeshadow primer here in case I need it. And then I have Phase Zero. I actually have a note on the back of this that says wears down a lot, patchy wear down too. I actually just tried this week, just for a quick look, and maybe I was too quick with it, but I liked the mattes in this. I've mentioned this before. I like the mattes. I don't like the shimmers. I feel like the shimmers require a lot of work and then they don't look very good. And also I just found that the mattes are not wearing great. I was really excited about the mattes before, but now I'm not so sure. The other thing is Complex Culture. I really don't like getting these in Boxycharms, and this palette is not my favorite color story to begin with. This is the Future So Bright eyeshadow palette. I do need neutrals to start an eye look with this, and I feel like the mattes, again, were maybe a little bit better than the shimmers, but I haven't been using it, honestly. I just remember being like, ugh, move it, I'll deal with it later, and then I've not dealt with it. And this palette. I'm trying to remember exactly what I didn't like about it other than the pans, but this is the Aether Beauty Desert Sunset palette. This palette I wanted to be excited for, and I can't remember what it is, if it just doesn't last, if it gets patchy, but I had this in my, get ready to get rid of pile. I feel like I kind of need to do some diving into this. I also have over here, I have no idea who, is it Lauren Conrad or is it just LC? I have no idea whose branding this is, but I have this over here that I had in my get rid of pile as well. I'm opening up all of the palettes over here, including what I have from Kenya, just to see where I should start an eye look, and we'll go from there. All right, so I don't see anything that has really a nice natural nude that I like to start an eye look with. So I guess I will be coming over here into the Kenya palette just for this nude shade and get just a natural neutral color going. I can't even say I'm very impressed with this natural shade because it doesn't even seem to be giving me much of anything. But I mean, it's going on, it's just not noteworthy. I'm gonna pop over here into the Phase Zero, and I'm gonna try this nude shade. I feel like before I've been starting with these more cream shades and they weren't doing what I was hoping for, so let's just start with what I'm aiming at. Grab this with a clean brush here. It's just a neutral brown, right? I'm gonna put this in the crease. Yeah, I remember this spreads pretty well. My issue with these mattes is how they don't wear well and that they wear down patchy. I wore just this palette earlier this week, and by middle of the day, I was staring at myself going, what's wrong? Like, what's happening? And I just remember these looking really patchy not much longer after I put them on. So I'm curious how this will do. I do have on a little leopard print dress today, so I feel like this, camel looking shade is speaking to me. I'm not a huge fan of the pan shapes, but I would work with it if I loved the product. So let's see. Again, this palette was in my literally declutter it pile that I had formed and started when I was moving. I get stumped every time I look at this because I'm just like, I don't know where to go, just because this color story just really isn't speaking to me. Thinking maybe to do Horizon on my outer V. It's pretty chunky. It's a pretty brown chocolate tone. A lot of shimmer to it, but it's got a lot of clumpiness to it as well. So we will see how this does. I do like to do shimmers with my finger, so this is not an uncommon strategy for me when applying a shimmer shadow. A little bit of fallout. I think this was the palette too that didn't like so much when you dap. You have to almost pull a little bit to get better pigment. Clean up on aisle eye. I want to say these shimmers were part of the reason I didn't like them. Not only is it hard for me to get my finger in, and I prefer to use my finger with a shimmer, I feel like the shimmers were the problem. I'm trying to remember why. I want to put this shimmer on the lids. Okay, nothing too special or spectacular, but it's, you know, it's kind of a chunkier shimmer shade, so maybe it would have looked better with the eyeshadow primer. I forgot to put this down, my bad. It just kind of looks like it is sitting on top too. You know what? Let's just put on a little bit. It will not come out. Oh ho ho. Well, this is why I don't use you, apparently. This is part of the review as well, the Basic Beauty, because I hadn't used it. And this might be why. I can't even get, oh my gosh. I can't get it out. And what's coming out is like super dry. No, I can't even get it out. It's like, no. This is getting decluttered right now on camera. Not sorry. I can't get it out. It's not that old. I literally am squeezing it so hard getting tools. Like that's not, no. I have another eyeshadow primer from a Boxycharm. This is the Eyeliner. It's pretty sticky, but it works. So that's a win. Should I have done this first? Yes. But did I forget and I need to go back and I am saying there's no rules to makeup? Yes. Maybe this will help it. I need to know. I need to know if this will help. I think it did. This is going to be a great before and after here. No eyeshadow primer with eyeshadow primer. None with. I think you can see the difference. Much more pigmented, much more bold, more of what I was hoping for, because I can't achieve that with other shimmers that I own on a first try with just a finger. I'm not one to pull out a glitter glue a bunch unless I am wanting that extra step, unless I am wanting to do even a glitter moment. So this is probably why this for me wasn't that impactful, because the pan size was already annoying me, but when the shimmers were literally just clusters on the eyes, it didn't look like this. Like this looks like liquid gold right now. I was thinking about going into this shade of the Complex Culture palette for a little highlight moment. I don't know if this is a good idea. I don't know. So chunky. I was trying to use more of this palette, but there's nothing else in here that I could do really. What the heck? It just like flicks all over. It doesn't look seamless. It doesn't look smooth. Oof, oof, oof. When you try to like pat more of it down, all it does is pull product away. What is happening? It's also getting stuff all over my face. It's got glitter all over the face right now. Oof. See if I can, well, I may have to match this other side, but then I may put something over the top of it because I don't like it. Look how good it looks on the finger. It looks like it just like liquid goes all over the finger. But then when you put it on the lid, it gets really sparse. It separates. It fluffs all over. Fluffs all over. I don't understand. We're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it work. I'm just going back into the same gold shade that I had on before that, just to blend it, because it's not giving it enough coverage to make it make sense in my mind, or at least for the look I'm thinking of. It may come through a little bit and give it a nice little frosted look in there, and that's fine, but as far as like its own topper movement, no. Let's see, I haven't used this Persona eyeliner in a long time, but I think this is the eyeliner I loved for getting that waterline. Oh, it is awesome. Okay, this was a second chance that I'm really excited about that's working beautifully. This is the Persona eyeliner. It is a 24-hour waterproof eye pencil. I forgot all about it. It is in black, and it is, I literally pulled it out just not remembering what I used it for, and as it's sitting here, I'm like, wait, that's the one that did really good waterlines. Doesn't transfer, makes your lashes look thicker when it's time to curl them. Love it. I'm not loving all the white glitter I'm seeing under my eyes though now. I don't even want to now jump into this. This is the Fenty How Many Carats Diamond Balm. I forgot about this, but now what's all over my face, I don't even want to deal with that, you know? Like, I'll put it on the body. I'm not putting it on the face. I don't know. Like, to me, this is very, very glittery, very, very shimmery. I have not touched it in a long time. Long time. Does it give a wet look on the collarbones? I don't know. Is it too much? Is it pixie dust? I can't tell. Like, I need something that's kind of like complementing like on the body up here, because right now up here is actually looking pretty matte considering some things are illuminating. Like you could see like the skin looking not too matte. But I feel like to complement this, what do I have? What do I have? Oh my god, you know what? I haven't used it in such a long time that I feel like I'm going to go ahead and pull this out in my second chance video. I'm going to do it. I'm going to use it with a wet sponge. I haven't used this in a really, really long time, but I remember loving it for this same thing. So this is the Steve Laurent Jelly Highlighter. This is in the shade Prosecco Please. This was in a summer favorites a long time ago. So let's just see. If should I do it with a finger or should I do it with a sponge? All right, let's do both. So this is the sponge side. Let's just stick with this being a sponge side. Ooh. Even though I've already powdered, I remember this working beautifully. Ooh. Y'all remember this? Do you guys remember this? Jelly Steve Laurent highlighter. I'm just going to go over it with a sponge towards the end there just to kind of like spread it. I feel like we needed to do something to kind of go with the body. We had to do something. I have a Saffron Botanicals and I have a Lauren Conrad eyeliner here. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. So this is the tip of the Saffron Botanicals. A little bit of a finer tip with Lauren. All right, I am starting to see some transfer down here from that Persona liner. A little wing moment. I need to fix a little mess up, but it's fine. I like that the tip is really easy to use with this, but I'm trying to remember, was this hard to take off? I don't know if I'll be able to match with the Saffron Botanicals. This one's definitely thicker. Oh, it's also looking chunkier over here. I think I like how this is laying down better, so maybe I'll just fix this side with this and we'll move on with life. Having to thicken up a wing, you know how that goes when we're trying to match. Lauren Conrad won out of that one, but I seem to remember something happening later in the day with the Lauren Conrad. I can't remember. I have two mascaras. This one is one I just recently got. Whole lot of mascara here. This one is really wet. Really, really wet. Okay, so there's this one, whole lot of mascara. And then I have this Stila Huge Extreme Lash. Another big wand. This one looks a little bit less wet, maybe more goopy. All right, let's do a whole lot of lashes on this side. Thick formula is what it feels like. Like the eyelashes already feel heavy with the first coat. And it looks like what it's doing is grabbing the lashes, I don't know if you can see because of how thick the liner is, and clumping them. And that's not generally a way I like. I like a bit more of a fluffy lash because I have such big eyes that if it doesn't fan them out and make my eyes like complement the size of my eyes, it makes it look like I don't have lashes. So not totally loving this right now. Let's check out the Stila Huge Extreme Mascara. Oh man, that liner that was under the waterline definitely is not staying now. And I thought that was like one of my favorite things. This one isn't curling the lash as much as the other one so far. But it is making it look like I have more lashes. Kind of hard to tell with the liner. Not really in love with any of them. All right, so now we don't have any lips. We need to have some lips. I also forgot about the Persona lip liner. Totally forgot about this. This is in the shade 90210. I like how it transfers. Considering I don't like wooden pencils, this is so creamy. Creamy, it's easy to mess up. Be careful. This is a lip color in itself, really. Okay, I like this. Bit bold, I probably went a little too much. So something else I have in here that I have not touched in a long time is a Rare Beauty lipstick. Whew, look at that color. Speaking of 90210, this is a 90s color. Yes, this is called Appreciate. And this is the Dewy Lip Balm. This does not look like a dewy lip balm. Let's find out, because I do not remember the last time I used this. Holy buckets, that's dark. Huh. Okay, it's definitely creamier than I expected, but this color, I mean, with the leopard dress I have going on, I guess I'm going for a full 90s look today. This is probably why I didn't use this color anymore, because the color itself, if I didn't have that berry 90210 color under my lips, under this lipstick from the liner from the Persona Cosmetics, I just think this looks gray and a little black on the lips, even though it looks like it should be a little bit more of a brown base. It is very movable, malleable, so I can see why they call this a balm. Girl, this color, this is like, okay, this is like a fall color. Maybe this is why I was like, not the summer vibe I was hoping for. So, okay, I do have one more thing to put on, which is this lip gloss, but this is a balm, so I don't know how well this is gonna go. This is newer to my collection, but I have not touched it. This is the Too Faced Lip Injections, and it's like this maximum thing where you're supposed to like see long-term effects of lip plumping. Extra strength instant long-term lip plumper. Do we believe that? I don't know. But I have so much balm on my lips at this point from that. I don't know if this is gonna work. Definitely feel it tingling, so it is working. Do I need to set anything? I think we're okay, so I think I'm just going to, let me get ready to give you some final thoughts here on the makeup. All right, we're gonna do a quick set down. Let's talk about the makeup. Okay, so I'm letting this all dry down right now, and there are some things in here that I think we can know are not going to work for me, things that maybe surprised me, and things that I'm glad to rediscover, and things I'm ready to declutter. Some things I already did, so let's talk about it. The main thing that is already out of the beauty space was that Basic Beauty eyeshadow primer that just, I couldn't even get it out. I was squeezing hard, had to get tools, and then when stuff did come out, it was like paste. It was not good. Not putting that on my eyes, no. So going back to the beginning here, over here I have the Rare Beauty primer on that is an illuminating primer. Over here is the Fenty, which is a soft matte. I don't think, based on the products I use today, I see much difference. And it could be because I have on some creams and other things like that, but I don't feel like one is detracting or enhancing more than the other. So that's good to know, because I was concerned the last time I put on the cream products because I had on a very luminescent primer. I was like, oh, could this be part of it? I feel like they're very similar right now. I really do. Neither one of them blurred my pores, which is probably why I haven't reached for them much. Let me pull my mirror over here. But in person, I see freckles on both sides. I see a luminosity from the jelly highlighter I added, but all of the skin really looks, healthy, juiced up. None of it's really looking matte or cakey right now. So that is really good. Let's talk about the Oompa Loompa in the room with the Anastasia Beverly Hills foundation. Now the shade 240N is the one I have again, and it definitely goes on this extremely yellow orange tone. And while I still can't say it fully matches me, I think again, we can see for the second time now, it gets better. So it does oxidize in reverse, where it goes on really yellow and then it changes color. Like it even comes out, something you think might be normal. But then as it gets on the skin, it kind of just goes into this yellow tone here. I don't know. I don't really know what's going on, but it was definitely a yellow based color. So like even on the hand right now, it doesn't look too yellow, but it kind of just oxidizes more yellow and then transitions back to being a little bit more skin-like, a little bit more neutral maybe. I don't understand it. I really don't. We saw it live for the second time on camera, so good to know, but that's probably why I haven't reached for this, honestly. And also, considering how thick I feel like this comes out, like I said, I could immediately see some freckles on my skin. Now, is that because maybe I did the cream powder differently over here than I did over here? Possibly, but now that we're at the end of the makeup, we've done all of the things, I do see some of my freckles coming through here. So it's not even as thick of a foundation as I thought, or at least as it looked going on. See, look how yellow this looks at the moment. But I'm not mad that I can see my freckles because we are going to a more natural look. This is a luminous foundation, which is probably also adding to the juiced up, healthy, glowing skin. And I really don't see that it's bunching anywhere. I don't see anything under the eyes or in the nose crevices, which is good. It's better. I wish the color didn't do what it does, and I also maybe wish I had a different color to match my skin better. I think I'd hoped by summer that it would match better, and it just doesn't. It doesn't. So that may be the biggest detractor, is that it's like you have to go through a journey with this foundation in order to like balance it. But even now, like I'm looking in my viewfinder, my like here still has that more yellow base, and then down here is more of a pink neutral. And I did warm up the body with some bronzers. Maybe I need to do more, but this may not stay in my collection because of the journey you have to go through. Maybe it's mostly the coloration. I'm glad that it's not as thick of a foundation as I thought it would be, or as, too greasy or illuminating. I'm gonna have to see how the rest of the day goes. Concealer may have saved the look in some ways as far as coloration went. I still think that the doe foot leaves a lot to be desired. I also really prefer an illuminating under eye concealer. That's my personal preference a lot. Now, when it comes to subscription boxes, clearly you get whatever kind of comes in the boxes in the variety that you get. So that's not exactly what I'm focusing on. It's more, this is a second chance video. Am I gonna keep using it? Because I have been using it. I've just not been like sure how I felt about it. Now the under eyes today do not, and this goes to the powder and the concealer, look like they are adding lines. They're not looking crepey. They're actually looking better than I had anticipated, because I feel like for the past week when I'd been using this, I was seeing that. But maybe it's the powder I was using, because I used a different powder today with this product, which is why I love doing these types of videos. It's not gonna leave my beauty space yet because it's doing its job. I do prefer something a little different, but it's not detracting from my makeup, and I'm not mad about it. It's just, I wouldn't buy this again on my own, but I may use this up longer. Before we got into powders, what did we get into, ladies? We did the alley-oop. Now the alley-oop, we saw what happened last time. So I'm really grateful that what happened in the last Boxycharm video is not what happened to today's face. And that is really thanks to you. So thank you so much for all of your tips, all of your ideas. I think they both worked really well. Now, yes, I have other things on top of this, but as we can see, nothing looks like it's overwhelming. I don't see any cakiness like I did the last time. I don't see anything really. I did notice with the sponge how I could see these freckles much sooner. Is that because, again, the foundation is one of those roller coaster of emotions and beauty regimens where you just have to let the play develop? It could be the foundation now, because like I said, I see some very prominent freckles over here. Freckles. We'll just never know. So I'm not as mad about the alley-oop. Is it gonna be a favorite for me? No. It's just not the type of makeup that I gravitate to. I feel like with the sponge, you could go so gentle with it and you could build it up. Also takes more time. The finger phalange situation over here on this side with this product worked really well. I really feel like I got a look pretty quickly, so I'm glad to know that for the future. Would I contour with this if I felt like I was brave? And I'm not feeling any braver than I've already done today. So this is actually, I'm not as mad about this. Am I in love with it? No. Do I think it illuminated the body pretty well? Yes. As far as this highlighter went, since I apparently cannot use it for the face because it just disappears, the body, it did okay. So I had 3 options for powders. So I'm pretty pleased with both of these. The Bare Minerals, I knew I liked from a long time ago, but I honestly haven't touched this probably since I received it. And I do have a lot of powders in my collection, so that could really be why. I think the face looks pretty good. Again, you see the juiciness, you see the luminosity, you see healthy glow, but the powder is there and my face doesn't feel sticky after using creams. And that is a big thing when you are an oily skinned girl. The Viseart powder, I could not remember what I thought of it, but I remember it being lower on the tiers than the Anastasia powder, because I think this was the go-to powder I had for a minute to go under the eyes, set the face, you know, in that middle of the road moment with makeup. So this was a gamble today, truly, especially being under the eyes where I had already seen crepiness potentially with this concealer. So I'm very pleased with both of these, that the under eyes don't seem to be creping. They don't seem to be adding lines that are like, you know, growing and adding to. I have expressive eyes, so I can see that under there, but like nothing is, it's not the makeup's problem. It's my skin. So I'm good. I'm pretty pleased with the both of these and how they applied today. Y'all, sometimes we learn what does not work for us. And this got oranger. Did this get more orange, or am I just seeing it with a fresh face right now? I feel like this Shaz by San bronzer in the shade Walnut Bronzer is just not your girl's color. And that is okay. I think this is getting decluttered pretty much right after this video. I'll see if I have any friends that this could fit their skin tone better than me, but this is definitely not staying in the collection. Kenya Beauty Glow and Go Kit. This had some pluses and some minuses. I went in with this Divine bronzer. I do feel like it went a little bit warmer toned. I needed to kind of balance, blend things out. Got a little bit of bunching up here that now that I'm staring at the forehead, I can still kind of see right up here. It's not terrible. These blushes are definitely more illuminating blushes, so they can help you forego a highlighter if you're looking for that. These definitely still pull, like I showed you before, more red toned. Oh, they're wearing down quite a bit. Wow, That's a lot of wear down. Maybe I've been rubbing up against it. That's totally possible, but definitely not my jam. These brow products I thought were super convenient, but maybe not my favorite. So this isn't too much of a heartbreak that I think this is gonna go to a friend, because I think this is getting decluttered for me. Not because it's not a quality, you know, it could be good for someone else. It just doesn't work for me personally. So far, this is our, not working great. Gonna see if I can find somebody else pile so far. Palettes. Let's pull out some eyeshadow palettes. I did talk about the Kenya. I already know I'm gonna be giving that away. This Phase Zero, I feel like, is going to be covered up a lot today because I'm mostly focused on this shade to kind of get something started, to kind of blend with other things. I think this may be going soon because like I said, I just tried this week. I tried 2 very neutral shades just for an easy look, and it wore down patchy to the point that I was like, I'm getting out a Post-it so I don't forget that this is the only palette I used, and I did not like my look not long after, and it's kind of concealed by all the other things I did to my eyes today. So this is on deck for a declutter. Okay, the Aether Beauty. The packaging is eco-friendly, which we love eco-friendly. I don't like when things are hard to open and close because of the packaging though, and this has always been a struggle for me with this. Also, not a fan of the pans. Is it a reason to get rid of it though? No, that's just whining. I liked this shade a lot, and I feel like that's the majority of what you're gonna see in the crease and what I used to blend the shimmers. This shimmer came out really pretty after I used an eyeshadow primer. Well, before that, it's one of those eyeshadows that just kind of sits there. It's a little sparse and it kind of fluffs everywhere unless you use something else to bind it to make it more opaque, give it that liquid gold moment. So I feel like that's probably why I had this in my declutter pile, because it was in a bag to be decluttered. It's made me warm up to it because I like the eye look I got today. I think it's really pretty, but there were some struggles with it, and it took a lot to get there in a time and in a world where maybe we're wanting more fast and easy pretty versus let's spend an hour on the pretty. So this is still on deck to potentially get decluttered, but now I have a fresh mindset of some good things about it. Girl, I don't like getting complex culture in my Boxycharms as it is. If I wanted Ipsy, I would subscribe to Ipsy. They're pretty much making it so the 2 brands don't need to be 2 separate brands anymore in a lot of our minds. But this particular palette, I did not like this, as you could see. It did not do its job in the least of what I thought it should. This one did okay on the outer corner, but it's not meant to be a showstopper in the look that I did because it's still out here. It looks fine, but the other shadows were really the main feature. So I still think this is on deck for me to possibly get decluttered. Stay tuned, be subscribed for an upcoming declutter video because I'm gonna have to be a little ruthless. Yes, I have more space in this bigger beauty room, but I still only have so many drawers, and I only wanna keep what I'm actually using, and I don't wanna just keep stuff that I'm like, blah. The highlighter on the body is, I feel like the Fenty was just a bit too much. I think it took it a bit too far. I do love me some of this Steve Laurent Prosecco Please that I added to my face to kind of complement the glow I had going down here. This is such a good product, and I'm so glad I rediscovered this because I literally was like, wait, there is something that will work beautifully for down here that reminded me of the alley-oop, but better. That's this. And this Fenty is just a glitter bomb, and maybe I'm just out of this glitter phase of my life, at least at this moment, because I kind of pulled this out thinking I would put it on the eyes, but then once things got a little crazy with that palette, I was like, no, we're gonna see how this can look on here. And it's a little too much. Really disappointed actually in this Persona eyeliner because I remember this being really good for underneath here, and it did a great job of lasting and not transferring, and there is definite transfer down here on both sides, but there is still a decent amount up here. It's not the worst thing ever. I'm not going to declutter this, but I was glad to rediscover it, but a little disappointed it wasn't like as on point as I remember it being with the no transfer. But it does do a really pretty job of being up here and kind of giving you a little bit more of a full lash at the base, which can kind of help sometimes. The 2 liners today though, I'm like kind of ready to declutter one of them, honestly. I don't use a lot of liners lately. I've been out of the liner game, and if anything changes, I'll let you know in the comments or description box below. But this Lunar Saffron Botanicals liner, it was too thick. It was harder to do, and then even after I had a line, it started kind of separating and creating bald spots over here. Ooh, it's even got some stuff down here that I didn't see before. Yeah, it's just a little bit messier. Not my favorite style. Don't think I'm gonna keep this, but the Lauren Conrad, what I like about this is the tip. It gives you enough. You're like, almost like, is this too thin? No, it actually went over itself really well. And then helps to create a better line. This worked better for me. And if there's any issues at the end of the day with taking it off, again, I'll leave it down below, but I don't think so. I think this works. I'm pretty pleased with it at the moment. We'll just say that. The Persona lip liner, really glad to have rediscovered this. I feel like it is very creamy for being more of a pencil style formula, really easy to apply, and can be an entire lip look really. You don't need much more. The Too Faced Injection Gloss looks good over anything you want to put it with. I don't know if it's really going to give long-term plumper lips, because I feel like this is one of those things like skincare you'd have to use pretty religiously. But it's fine for the look I have going. Today, it does have some tingling effects, so if you don't like a tingle, not your jam. The Rare Beauty, though, maybe I'll save this for the fall and see how I like it. It's not, I don't know. Like, it's fine now, but I think if I had just put this on directly, it looks gray on my skin. It doesn't look like it's, if it weren't for the fact that I had a lip liner on that had some berry tones to it, I feel like my lips would look Halloweenish. I love the component on this. Pretty component, but definitely got a color that I feel like is just not my jam. Not something I'm gonna reach for on the regular. And I'm not a big fan lately of keeping things that I'm only gonna use once or twice a year either. So that may end up actually in a declutter too, now that I'm saying all this out loud. It can be a comfortable formula like it is, because it's a balm, but the color is what I'm just like, I'm not trying to look dead in August. We saved that for Halloween, and even then it's one day a year. These two mascaras, neither one of them actually impressed me, and they're both not brand new, so they should be kind of living up to some hype by now. Oh my gosh, I'm looking at this eyeliner, and I can even see how the eyeliner from the Saffrine Botanicals is missing spots closer down that this side isn't. Hold on. It's the thicker one, so you think it would have more spread to it. My trash can needs to be taken out, I know, but it's getting thrown away. Fixed it with the Lauren Conrad in less than 15 seconds. And as far as these mascaras go, I feel like maybe this Stila did a little bit better than the Big, although the Big, what is this called? Whole Lot of Mascara, actually did better with the under lashes. Not really impressed with either of these, and don't think I'd be repurchasing any of them, to be honest with you. Thank you guys so much for going through literally all of this with me. I'm looking at the timestamp of how long this has been filming, and it's been at least 2 hours. So thank you guys so much for going through all of this second chance with me and helping me to kind of like learn different ways to use products. Give me your thoughts, but there are some definite things here that are going to be, some of them have already disappeared, but we're going to be having some more things potentially disappear from this beauty space because they're just not things that I love. Some things I can easily gift away, some things I cannot. And don't forget, there's also a few things that I couldn't try today with what I had going on, so be prepared for some upcoming purges. Welcome to a midday check-in. I was not expecting to do this. I've officially wrapped the video, but I am editing the next video that I'm putting up, and I was looking in the mirror and I was like, oh, you know what? I have the luxury of time at the moment while things are exporting. So I'm gonna get a little close with you right now and show you that my texture is actually looking a little bit rougher now that the time has passed. Things have had time to wear a bit. The eye look, I think, is still really pretty, even though the liner got a little crazy and I didn't really have time to fix it in the video. But you can kind of see here, now that we're up close, like my texture and the shininess is starting to look a little bit more on that greasy side, not the like dewy, glowy side. That's where your girl's at by midday. Eye look looks good, but the skin on both sides, not just one, not looking its best. Just a little update for you. Let me know what you thought. Let me know what you think of the final look. Is there anything you would have done differently with maybe the creams or how to do some of the shadows or something? Let your girl know. Thank you so much for going through this with me. And if you happen to be new to my loud, weird, crazy channel, hi new friends. I really hope you take a quick moment to hit that subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on the upcoming declutters, the Boxycharm half-year review. So many things coming your way. Bye, friends.